Disneyland back in late December. I should say Disney is a parent company of ABC News, a company I work for, as we talk about this. But the belief is among health officials that somebody from another country where measles has not been eradicated came to Disneyland, was enjoying themselves, likely didn't know that they were infected. It has a 21-day incubation period, and during that time, you can infect others, but you don't know you're sick necessarily because there are no symptoms. And now there have been a number of people who got sick there at Disneyland. They have now gone home, and they are spreading it in their own communities, and the numbers are going up pretty much every day.
All right, so any restrictions on Disneyland? What's going on there?
Not on Disneyland itself. The only warning that's going out from state health officials here in California is that if you are unvaccinated, that you shouldn't go to public places with a lot of people around because it is so easy to contract. Easier than polio, easier than the flu. Doctors are telling us, amazingly, that if somebody with measles sneezes or coughs in a room, that virus can hang in the air for 2 hours and travel the length of a basketball court. If somebody comes into that room an hour and a half later, takes a breath, they can breathe it in and get sick. It's that easy to spread. So they're saying if you are not vaccinated, that you should stay away from those public places right now. But there is a big call in the West, now this is affecting 6 states and Mexico, that people need to get vaccinated, that there is this movement, a lot of talk online, a lot of theories about why you shouldn't get the vaccine. Doctors say it's all a bunch of bull, that it's all been disproven over and over again, but still there are many who truly believe the vaccine will give you autism or will kill you, a number of different things you'll see online. They say not true. The vaccine is 100% safe, and most of the people who are getting sick are unvaccinated, and that's why it's now spreading.
It's sounds like it's much more contagious than Ebola. And people were freaking out over 4 people in America having Ebola, and yet this measles story, Alex Stone, I don't think is getting, 1/100th the play that Ebola story got earlier in the summer.
Yeah, it's not as exotic as Ebola, but you're right. Ebola is passed through bodily fluids. This is airborne. This is just by being in the room with somebody. In 1989, there was an outbreak here in California. 17,000 people got it, and 70 died. In this case, a quarter of those who have gotten sick have had to be hospitalized. It can be very, very serious, especially for infants who may not have their immunizations yet, and again, those who have decided against it. In some populations across this country, about 10% of the people are not vaccinated because they have beliefs that it's going to hurt you or hurt their children, so they have decided not to vaccinate their children. And that's really, especially here in California right now, health officials are saying if you don't know if you were vaccinated as a kid, go and get the shot right now just to make sure it won't hurt if you get it again, to make sure that you've got that immunity.
Are they also telling adults? What about adults? If you were vaccinated, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, does it still work today? And are they telling adults in that situation to go get revaccinated?
They say adults should be okay unless they're working in the medical industry and around a lot of people. But you can get a booster shot. They say it's not going to hurt you, that if you're worried that it may have worn off, or if you don't know if you got that shot, go ahead and get that booster shot and say, okay, I'm good to go. That said, 8 of the 70 who are now sick or have been sick in recent weeks were vaccinated, but in a small percentage of the population, the vaccine just doesn't work. It doesn't make them immune. It doesn't make them sick. They don't have side effects from it. It's, but what's too bad is you think you got the vaccine, you think you're immune, and then you get sick. Unfortunately, in a few people, it just does not work.
Are Californians taking the advice of the medical community, and are we seeing more and a larger number of people lining up side of doctors' offices getting their vaccines?
Yes. We've been talking to a number of doctors' offices, a number of labs, and the labs say people are calling asking for the blood test that you can get. It takes about 3 days. They draw your blood, and they can tell you if you're immune. And doctors' offices say people are coming in a lot more than they've typically seen for measles, asking to get that shot. So, yes, definitely. Just by chance, my family, we're going to Disneyland tomorrow. We made sure, just being in a public place with a lot of people around, that we all had our vaccines. And looking back, calling our doctors from when we were kids, saying, hey, can you go check those records? And it's a prudent thing to do right now in the West if you're going to be anywhere, an airport, a mall, around a lot of people. And if somebody could be sick, which you never know, because they don't show signs during that incubation period.
Alex Stone, ABC News correspondent, covering that measles outbreak in Los Angeles and those warnings at Disneyland. Alex Stone, great job. Be safe. Have fun tomorrow.
You got it. Thanks, McGraw. Have a great weekend.